forcibly incarcerated. I'd been detained on a few occasions.
Okay.
I've been detained, but not in this country.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I've been detained here, but that was, those were the good old days.
Oh yeah.
They're like, hey, you sit there and wait. Like, all right, dude.
It's like, fair enough.
Don't make me get my dog out of the car. It's like, it shakes the whole car. I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm staying put.
It's like, no, you can keep
I don't want fucking
buried.
Cujo chewing me a new asshole.
Yeah, you can keep
Right.
that buried in the fucking back seat. I can't look it up, but he does
Just muzzle that fucker.
He does local podcasts too, and he does more gear setup than fly fishing.
Oh, okay.
And so he brought me on just to have something different. It was a great conversation. I got him really young in the career on it. But it's really surprisingly, and he uses the same, pretty much exactly the same route you guys do, same way to push it out there and do all that.
I wonder who he is now. I feel like we should know at least a good majority of the podcasters in our locale.
Yeah,
but
I'm gonna look it up real fast on Facebook.
Yeah, I was gonna say, find the name and then you'll recognize it.
I hate Facebook, but
You guys are so cute together.
Who's that? All of us?
No. Just you and Brian.
Oh, Rob and Brian.
Yeah.
hey, this is a Pacific
John's
Northwest
over here like
driven freaking podcast. I'm telling you.
We got the neighborhood watch guys set up all ready to go. Who was that guy again down the street? I don't know. Look him up on Facebook. Let's dig up his past, man.
Isn't that kind of scary though? Like somebody's like, there's that guy from Colorado that takes all those cool pictures. Who is that?
Yeah.
I think his name's like Hanson or something like that. They
Yeah.
go after Dave, out there Facebook stalking him. Like,
Yep.
oh,
It happens.
man. Oh yeah. Well, it's
No doubt
it's
about it.
unbelievable to me that it gets going that direction. But
There's
That's
some
how Lance
wild.
and John are getting so famous from all their live fly tying episodes. These guys are slaying.
I got a lot of bugs just sitting around here. We'll say that.
God, I gotta start tying again.
Don't do it. Don't do
I've
it.
got like no bugs sitting around. I've got like some shrimp.
There you go.
Those look good, man.
Way to be
Got
that
some
guy.
shrimp and EP crabs that I forgot to put the claws and legs on. So now they're just sand dollars. So
Ah, customer
$10
order.
flies. I like that, man.
Yeah.
You tying that shit with fair flies?
oh fuck no, dude. No,
As
like
you said
yeah,
that, and one of my really, really good buddies is actually the owner of Fair Flies.
yeah.
Yeah, wait a sec, John. Are you Morris Flyco on Instagram?
You didn't know that?
dude. Are you?
No,
are
I
you,
didn't.
You know?
Oh yeah.
I never put two and two together. Oh
Wow.
my God.
Way
This
to
is-
not know our freaking
Whoops.
guests.
Bro, I straight up did not do my homework tonight. Damn.
it's all right. You'll learn a lot in a very short amount of
Yeah,
time.
you're about to get schooled.
Please.
I'm making lots of salt flies with these though, with the
Nice.
fair
Very
flies.
cool.
What do you got in the koozie, Lance?
This is a little bit of a after work pre-meditative podcast mojito.
Oh, mojito. Nice. That's always a good choice.
Yeah, man.
Hell
I'm trying
yeah.
to keep it cool out here, you know?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, John, you'll have to take me to church, man. I'm ready for some new fly tying
So-
inspiration.
Explain.
sure.
So that's your material that you're tying with?
No, he just showed some of the fair fly stuff.
Yeah, this is the fair fly stuff I just got. Hold up. So are you talking about Chris Allen? Rob, are
No.
you talking about
So
Allen?
Chris, I know Chris very well. Me and him are buddies. He is actually the
Okay.
assistant. So Jeff Coffey, the actual owner and the guy who
Yeah.
made this, is really good friends with me. And I think he reached out to one of you guys too, didn't he?
I tie for fair flies.
Okay, so that's where it is.
Yeah.
So you okay? So yeah, me and Jeff, he's pretty much a family friend. He's actually getting ready. We're gonna lock him in to come on the podcast too.
Nice, dude.
Very cool.
But yeah, I actually was one of the first people to tie with the fur
Oh hell yeah,
and stuff like that.
dude. It
What
was
are you
it was-
drinking, Rob?
Yeah, Rob's just going straight for
Going straight for the tequila or
right
what?
to the neck, dude.
Blam.
Damn. Oh, should have known.
It's expensive. I don't know.
Looks like
My
it,
neighbor
yeah.
gave it to me,
Was that a handwritten label?
and so
My
it's like
God.
everybody understands it when they see the horse on the top.
Nice.
That's how my buddy. But it's actually really it's only 93 proof though.
Oh,
Oh,
That's right. The other shit I have in there.
we
I
got
think I have
Capri
like
Sun in that
I had
thing.
like 5 bottles in there that are all 120.
I feel like I should go in and get my bottle of Kamchatka vodka just to
It's
keep
like,
it trashy.
There you go. I'll go grab my Stoli and we'll sit
So I have
around and
a
have a
full-
great time.
So
All right, I'll go get my tequila then. Dan.
this is the little guy. I have a full size fridge over there. The bottom part is completely full of whiskey. I probably have like $7,000 worth of whiskey, if not more, in there.
Christ.
From my very generous neighbor that used to sell this to the actual liquor stores, and he'd come home with boxes, and I'd be like, "Yep, I'm an alcoholic. You can send it my way." And so he was.
Proper disposal right there.
That's a good neighbor.
But
Damn.
if you have glasses, you got to have the proper ice cubes.
Oh, there you go. That's
Damn.
cool.
Chilled casings, is that what that is, Rob?
Yep.
Wow.
That's the
Yeah.
real whiskey stone right there.
Get that clink, you know. Ting, 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 ting.
It's got good sound to it.
I got some 50 cal rounds from Iraq.
I'd break the damn glass, John.
Uh,
Just go
You're
thud.
gonna need a bigger cup.
No, we made them in the shot glass.
So that's as close to a 50 cal round that I got. We melted ours down, and I got my combat spurs. When I
Oh, dude, I don't have my spurs here.
That's
but
cool.
My dad has my spurs.
And so my dad, when he passed away, I gave him one of my gold spurs because he was a 19 Delta. And I was one of the first 11 Bravos to get my silver spurs as an E2 when I was in 10th Mountain. So it was fun.
A little bit
Very
of
cool.
memorabilia.
I enjoyed rubbing
Yep.
it in
Yeah.
the face. So I run blue cord.
Ooh,
Yeah,
look at
nobody,
that.
nobody likes the Deltas. So get that shit out of here.
Nice.
Starting out with the hot blood.
Right?
So I have the logo on the center. I have mine around here somewhere. I forget the hell I did with it. And so yeah, I had the hat. I had my Stetson and everything. A blue cord. It was fun. Especially when you go into like banquets and balls and shit like that. And so the grog was different. So it was like I mean, don't get me wrong. Being 11 Bravo, it never changes in the world, but there's a lot of history with the 19 Deltas that they like to do, like the grog and all that stuff and all that. So that was pretty cool. Us
Were you in the
infantry guys,
service, Brian?
We just drink.
No, I was
No.
never in the service.
Okay, so just John and Rob, I guess.
Not from Gladstone.
Yeah.
Not from Gladstone. They don't take them.
No, I never had any desire to go volunteer my services for the country. I have a lot of friends that have, but
Yeah.
it just wasn't in the cards for me. So
You know
Me
how
either.
crazy it is to be a fly fisherman from a, not service background. The amount of friends and connections and stories that you hear, it's truly incredible. Like when I first started fly fishing, there was no discussion about, intimate topics like these. But after a while, you start picking up friends who are out there on the water and they're sharing stories with you. And you learn so much about what it truly means to be a true servant to the country. Like hats off to, both Rob and John, obviously, but it's just great for all of the vets out there too, to be able to hear their stories, to be on the water, to experience that with them, even though we don't share that same background. I've got a ton of respect for everybody who served.
Amen.
absolutely.
Me
Yeah,
too,
I think
absolutely.
everybody on this podcast does, really.
for sure.
No,
Yeah.
military guys are assholes.
Well,
Those
at
guys.
least
Well,
one
that's
of
why
them
we
are.
like you guys so much. Man, come on now.
Well, I did.
John's kind of a nice guy, I think.
One of my great friends, besides John, he was a 11 Bravo. It's kind of funny you guys say that because I've heard all this stuff through my friends, and they're like all this, and he's like, yeah, I'm 11 Bravo. He's a paratrooper. He was in Afghanistan, all that kind of stuff. Never ever talks about it.
Yeah.
I mean, and he doesn't, and I never push it. I'm not going to sit there and say, so, how were things there? The only thing, we were out fishing one time, and he said, he was like, I know a better way to do this. I was like, what's that? He's like, well, we were on a bridge in some shithole in Afghanistan, and we started dumping hand grenades off the bridge, and you wouldn't believe what a fucking hand grenade will do to a fish. I was like, you got any? It was like, No, I was like, do you know where to get some? He's like, dude, if I knew where to get them, I'd fucking have them in the
All
boat
right.
now. It's like, all right, never mind, we're done. Yeah.
That's
So,
awesome.
and that was the only discussion. The rest of the time, it is frying catfish, drinking beer, having a good time, kayaking, you know, shirtless, getting sunburns, bit by chiggers, and all kinds of shit. So
Oh, hell yeah.
that's where we, you know, we don't talk about it, nothing else. If whoever wants to open up, I'm here. But you know, just super cool guy.
Oh,
Right
that's
on.
awesome. So I got a question.
I tend to have better friends from the military. No, go ahead.
So this is something, because I know this is something you and me deal with, and Lance and and Dave, probably it's not even close to what they deal with. What's it like being on this side of the mountain and being the limited window of fly fishermen on this side?
You know, just for me, it doesn't really bother me that much because, you know, and I've heard you talk about it before, like, you know, the salmon and steelhead and all that kind of stuff. And I was over on the Metolius about 3 weeks ago, and there was a young kid there, very excitable kid. You could tell he's really into, like, he's like, oh yeah, I'm throwing this PMD size 18 with the thorax, you know, he's like getting all technical. And he's like, what are you throwing? And I said, fucking bugs, dude. Anyway, so you don't get that on this side. I had this guy, it looked like fucking Sherlock Holmes in a set of you know, those fucking hip waders. He comes waddling up with a spay rod, and I'm like, who the fuck is this? I'm up there, I got a wad of eggs and sand shrimp on. I'm like, I am not fucking around. I'm gonna catch some fish.
Yep.
Anyways, he comes waddling up to me. He's like, well, why don't you go up there? I'm like, motherfucker, I don't care if you're 90 years old. I'm gonna fish wherever the fuck I want. You go ahead and do your thing. I guess if I was going to go hang out with like a club of fly fishermen over here, like we have the Clackamas fly fishers and all that stuff. I met one guy from there that was really cool. And then I had like 9 of them come emerging out of the brush at McIver one time. And they're like all staring at me. They all have like the oak, you know, whatever those expensive Costa glasses. I mean, these guys are like Patagucci to the fucking core. And I'm out there with my white trash rod and waders, and I'm just out there. I turn around and all these guys are just staring at me. And it's like this wall of fucking tostas. I'm like, dude, I'm getting the fuck out of here.
Yeah, I've done that. It's like where you walk down, and that's why I don't fish north. I mean, as far as I'll go is maybe the Malala, because it has really good freaking smallmouth. I'm not saying where. Everybody knows, but I'm not saying where.
There's other fish in there, but
oh yeah, but that's about as far as it's because it's like you feel like a fucking peasant. It's just like you walk in, and it's just like these guys come down, and you guys probably have an understanding when you're in like Colorado. You know, the guys walk out with the minimum shit that they have carrying on them. Their gloves are probably like $300, and it's just like, but it's like around here. I mean, it's just like this is the attire that I wear when I go fucking fly fishing. This is it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and it's just like. You get out there and they look at you like, oh, you're not even good enough to fucking stand on the bank. I'm like, you can go fuck yourself because I'm about to chuck some meat across this water and outfish all of you.
You and I need to get together and go out there because I'll tell you what, I'll go throw the biggest, loudest pile of shit through the water just to get them the fuck out of there, and then I'll proceed to fish with what will work. But
good plan.
Yeah, it's definitely different. Like John, you know, you talk to John about his fly fishing culture, and it's non-existent. Like if you know, if you don't have a pie plate belt buckle and 500 bait casters, you ain't shit, you know. And then we see guys out here, you know, you see guys out here, and if you don't have $150,000 Hughes craft with, you know, 18 rods and every fucking flasher and short bus's inventory on it, well, you ain't fishing either. Yeah. So you're kind of in this bizarre world in between. If you're a western west of the Cascades fly angler, let's say, you're in a really bizarre world. It's not like when you go over to Eastern Oregon and you see the guy with the old beat up truck down there throwing bugs. Now, I will say the lower access road onto the chutes has its share of the asshole hatch that goes off, especially when the salmon flies are out there. But this side of the mountain where we're at, you don't see a lot of people slinging bugs over here. And when you do, it's all up my direction. It's not necessarily in your direction because they're like, oh, well, those are shit fish because they're too dark. If they're going for salmon and steelhead because they've had to push over the falls and all that.
Yep. Yeah, because you guys got your little zone up there, and then the next
Mhm.
zone technically on our side is McKinsey.
Yep.
Is where so I'm in that dead zone between like Wilsonville and Eugene. Of like there's nothing. But the crazy thing is like the Willamette between Salem and Albany, legitimately some of the best smallmouth. I mean, you have to have
Oh,
a
yeah.
boat, but if you drift that, especially around like the rapids and stuff and Kaiser and stuff, it's amazing smallmouth. Good carp in there. San Yams have really good trout. Is really good trout fishing. But everybody just wants to throw gear because there's so many. Everybody, at least here, is similar to your. Everybody's so driven to either coho or freaking salmon or steelhead. That's all they want. Or they're out in the Columbia chasing everything else they can chase out there, sturgeon and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
What's
and-
your style
and
though, Brian? You fish a lot of gears, don't you?
Fuck yeah, I fish gear. I want to catch
Sure.
fish.
Well, yeah, that's what I thought.
Well, so I love fly fishing, right? And don't get me wrong, I got a stack of fly rods. I love going out and swinging bugs. I love dry fly. I love nymphing. I'm not so much a streamer guy, so to speak, but I haven't really
Uh-oh.
given it a lot of thought
Uh-oh.
because
so
well,
this is
meeting's
the end of
over.
the podcast. Thank you guys all so much.
Thanks
Yeah.
for coming, Brian. John.
This
John, you can
is
say
what
hi. I
I'm
know
gonna
you can
say.
meet.
Yeah. Well, I do throw like hairball leeches and stuff like that for like salmon and steelhead and things like that. So I'm just not like a trout streamer guy, because I've
Sure.
just never had a lot of luck. Like I know I can go put nymphs on and just blast trout.
Yeah,
Sure.
Man, I fish the fuck out of gear. I'm not a bit hesitant. When the springers start coming into the Columbia, better guarantee I'm going to be putting on a K16 fish and dumping 10 ounces of lead off the back of the boat. Or I'm going to be running a short bus or a 360 with a big ass prawn spinner 4-aught hook. I'm going to gag the shit out of it because I'm going to bring it home and I'm going to eat it. That's when I go out for springs, I'm not going out there to revel in the beauty. I'm going to beat the shit out of the thing. I'm going to cut its gills. I'm going to throw it in a kill bag and it's going to come home and get smoked.
Yeah.
That's the end
There
of the
you
story.
go.
Same thing with winter
Perfect.
steelhead. Like I catch wild ones. I catch wild fish. They get unharmed. I don't even hardly take pictures of wild fish because that's how much respect I have for that fish. I pop the hook and it's gone.
Yep.
There's no reason to sit there and hand fuck the fish to death just to get a picture. I get a hatchery fish, that thing's dying, man. it's done. So hatcheries are fair game. That's what I go out after.
Right.
Yeah.
So egg, sand, shrimp, herring, anchovy, sardine, wrapped quick fish, the whole 9 yards. I do that, but yeah. So yeah, I do
What are
fish
the
a lot of
waters like?
gear.
Because it looks like you're fishing kayaks, you're fishing on drift boats. You got all kinds of different arsenal in your bag.
Welcome to the
Oh,
Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
It's like everybody, and I love that we have somebody on here in the Pacific Northwest, and I get to brag about it. It's like everybody says don't come to Oregon. Trust me, it fucking sucks. Everybody's crazy, but it's just like everybody's just like, oh, Montana or oh, Colorado or dude, the amount of area and the amount of species and fishing you can do in Oregon is fucking phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like there's not very many other areas like that. And it's just like, and that's what I love about fishing here. It's just like shit, we can chase almost 12 species just from fucking Astoria inland. And it's just like, and that's before we even get over the pass.
Yeah.
And so it's phenomenal.
John, what do you fish for? I
Gar.
heard Dave let it slip that you
Gar.
fish meat, but
Gar.
nice.
Oh,
John.
I fish the fuck out of some meat, dude. Like that's my calling in life. I mean, dude, I've got a picture of Kelly Gallup holding a circus peanut or some shit back here.
Above
Hey,
your
get
bed.
that
Signed
picture,
to
John.
Dave,
Put
too.
That's awesome.
This is fucking hilarious. You're gonna love this.
Oh my
Fucking
God.
phenomenal.
That
Dude.
is hilarious.
Ryan is missing out right now.
Wow,
now.
man.
He's gonna have to watch it.
Yeah.
That was great.
That's truly beautiful, John. I have
Yeah,
to
you
admit
know-
that is something else.
So it looks like Jesus is just vibing back there with me when I'm tying all these streamers and stuff. But really, it's Kelly Gallup. But
Same thing.
but dude, no man, like, I I don't guide anymore, but I was guiding. I did a year of guiding here in Texas, and then I guided Arkansas for 4 or 5 months, and it was like, I don't know. I did the streamer thing for like 8 months straight, and then I started nymphing, like Euro nymphing, because
It fucking works.
it fucking works, yeah. But the thing was too, man, like I wanted that challenge of like, I don't know what the fuck this is. I don't know what the fuck's a cider? Like, what do you mean you're tying 3 flies on? And it's like, I wanted that challenge, and I felt like I was doing my clients and a disservice of not knowing what the fuck I was doing if they wanted to go do it. If they're like, hey man, really, I want to go nymph some mop flies. Be like, yeah, dude, for sure, have at it. I don't fucking know how to do that, but have at it.
I agree, because it's like I've thought about being a guide, but I'm not really public friendly when it comes to like certain things. And so
Most things.
yeah, but it's just like I've always looked at it like I love throwing streamers. I'll always throw streamers, but I love throwing Euro. I love dry fly. I have really tried to diverse across everything, because one, it is scary how fucking good Euro is, and how like you can go in and throw everything you have in a box, and you'll never get anything. You go in there and you drop 1 Euro setup, and you only yank like 20 fish out of the fucking hole, and it's phenomenal. And it's just like, that's why I tell everybody, it's like we're actually getting. Actually, you'll like this. So the owner of Yamsey Ranch is a really good friend of mine, and I get to go every year. And I'm actually going down in August. So we're gonna take some vets down and freaking have some fun and do all that. But it's just like areas like that. It's you get in there and you're teaching somebody, and I always tell the guys, be as diverse as you can. Don't just get stuck. Like everybody knows it. Everybody sees it. I throw dry flies and that's all I have, which nothing wrong with that. It's just good luck.
Right.
You have to be diverse. Go out and learn as many techniques and as many opportunities as you can from everything. And I go, it will just open so many more doors, and you'll catch more fish.
Dude, exactly, man. And that's what I'm doing. You know, as much as I hate to say it, I'll be going into technical dry fly fishing after Euro nymphing. And then I'll return back to, that big dick energy of throwing meat all day and catching like 2 fish. But
What is a fun 2 fish?
Best 2 fish of the day right there.
Dude, it is, man. But no, dude, I've been fishing for gar recently.
Oh, yeah.
Ryan
Killing it.
Yeah.
So
dude,
I gotta ask you a question about gar flies real quick, because this is a hot topic for me. This is, as someone who likes to tie flies, I cannot understand gar flies, right? Because you're not typically catching a gar on a hook. You're entangling their teeth, right? With the fly, or is that not typically how you go for it?
Hold on, let me put on my nerd hat real quick. All right. And there it is. All right. So it depends on the gar you're chasing after, dude. So there's like 5 species, typically in North America, but your most targeted or spotted longnose and alligator. Alligator gar, you cannot use rope flies. It doesn't work. They have 3 rows of teeth, but they're not. The teeth aren't meshed like this, like they are for longnose. Longnose, you're pretty much just fucking flossing them. To be honest, you're just throwing. I mean, shit. I've got some rope sitting right here. But you can get them with hooks, dude. I was listening to, the fly box from Tom Rosenbauer's podcast, and this dude, he came on there and he was like, acting all kind of like high and fucking mighty. He's like, yeah, when I fish for gar, I hook them in the corner of the mouth with the hooks. I was like, yeah, that's all fucking fine and dandy, dude, but I don't think you're catching the fish I'm catching. And I mean, I'm fucking 3 inches off a world record right now. Like,
hell yeah.
I'm not here to brag. It's just like, dude, it's like the chances of you successfully doing that are so slim. Is it possible? Yes. Like Marty Miller, I was throwing one of Marty's dungeons that he tied with a craft for a head. And this gar smoked it. And how I ended up catching it is it wrapped around its top jaw on like fucking 5X tippet. It wrapped around its jaw between the teeth, looped back around on the line and lassoed it. And I managed to land this like 10-pound gar on a 4-weight.
Holy
And
shit.
that was stupid as fuck.
Awesome.
Well, you said, yeah, you could say, you know what, go fuck yourself, guys. I did it.
I did it.
Yeah.
Time to
Yeah.
start stepping your game up, guys.
Sometimes you just find yourself in that situation where you're pulling in a donkey on a twig, man. That's just
yeah.
how it goes.
I mean, shit. I mean, it's like Oregon Fishing Club. I mean, we can get out there and you see guys out there. And when I first started off, I was throwing like 6X. And it's just like, for me, it's not uncommon to hook into a 10-pound fucking rainbow.
Yeah.
And on 6X, you're like, oh shit.
Good luck.
It's,
And be here for a while.
yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone grab your popcorn and chairs.
I gave up on that light shit. I went like to 2X. That way I could just horse the shit out of them.
Dude,
There you
and
go.
honestly, everybody asked me about that too. It's like, hey, what are you throwing? Because, I mean, you know how the guys are in Oregon Fishing Club. Great group of
Yeah.
guys. I've never come across anybody bad, but they're old school and they're either nymphing or they're throwing drives.
Yep.
And I've consistently ran into people like, what are you throwing? And I'm like, I'm throwing a chunk of fucking meat. That's what I'm throwing. And they're like, is it work? I'm like,
Fuck yeah, it
I was
works.
like, I've already caught 10 and you've been out here for 8 hours and you only got 3. So I guess it works.
Well, you know their day's going really good when they start sliding out of their fucking float tube because they're so drunk. You know, they've been out there running balanced leeches. Well, I saw that this guy's out there. He's got like a cigar in his mouth and it's like hanging down. This is up at Big Tree. I was up there and he's got like the cigar hanging down. And I'm like, hey, dude, you okay? I thought he'd had a fucking stroke on the lake. He's kind of jumps up and he's looking around. I'm like, hey, you want a ham sandwich or something, dude? You just see the trailer, all the fucking Coors Light cans. It's like he's got married, but he didn't, you know, because he's like 75.
Dump bags just full
Dragging
of
behind
empty-
old fucking caddis, you know.
Dude, and
I'm gonna be that guy.
There's been so many guys
So do I.
where I'll
Yeah.
float over to them because I'm the kind of guy like, hey, I'll cut the fly raft into my rod and give it to you and let you fish it. And I'll go over there and hand them a handful of streamers and be like, hey, throw it like this, and like this. And they're like, what? Like, tip it and all. I'm like, I'm going like 1X down to like 2X. I'm like, why are you going so strong? It's because my goal is to get the fish in and out as fast as possible. It's just like, I don't care. I just get out. If I get a cool pick, awesome. I'm going to grab it, take a pick, and get it out. Because the more you fight it, the worse it is for the fish.
Yeah, you really don't want to be horsing fish on streamers or in any situation, really.
Yeah,
But-
it's just like the more they play it out, the more they're getting more out, the more they're using energy, the more it takes them longer to freaking recover. You can just yard dart them fucking into the net and then get your little glory pick, chuck it out, good to go. It's better for the fish.
Well, and I think especially for streamers, you know, you're not going to see a fish that's chasing a streamer that's also leader shy, right? You're already activating that instinct. They don't care if you're running 1X, 2X. You could be running 20-pound test, and they're still going to peg that thing.
Yep.
Right?
They're pissed and they're focused. They get tunnel vision.
Exactly. You know,
Dude,
so you hear these stories of guys horsing fish on 6X, and to an effect, I mean, that makes sense. Like if you're presenting a size 26 chironomid down on the San Juan on 6X because the fish are just being
That's
that
about the
picky.
most sophisticated, like, I've ever heard somebody say that. You just say,
I mean,
it's-
it's
you like stretch chironomid or whatever the hell it is out. Like I'm so fucking. I'm like peasant style. I can't even say it.
sorry, man. For what it's worth, we can add subtitles, you know, and so
Please.
everyone else can spell it on the way out.
Dude, it's just a long zebra midge, dude.
Yeah,
That's right. That's all.
exactly.
really
There you
long
go.
zebra midge, yeah.
Now I'm with you. Now I know
All
what you're
right,
talking about.
sorry. Let me back up. So, you know, as you're chucking some silly string down on the San Juan, and you kind of figure out what really starts working.
You know what really works really good is those little leather worms.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Oh,
chamois or something
Yeah, the
like that.
chamois,
Right?
those things are deadly.
They
I
are
was just
fun.
chatting with my buddy. He fishes those all the time. He swears by them.
Yeah, they
There's-
work.
There's
So-
Dude, you can.
So
You can
what's
sorry.
they kind of crossed it over, and I know we're having a good conversation. But so what got you guys into a podcast?
Dude,
You're like,
I'll
"Oh,
let you go,
shit."
John. I'll let you go,
Yeah.
John.
Dude, it was like this. We had this kind of like fucking punk rock moment for a second. I don't know. So there's this fly
Walmart
shop.
checkout line.
Woo!
So there's this fly shop in Texas. I'm not gonna put them out there because I might not like it. You know, at the end of the day, it was like it's very petty. It's very small, but I felt like I don't know. I heard about this shop, right? It was on another podcast that was on YouTube, and I was listening to them, and I was like, "Yeah, fly fishing's so fucking cool, dude." And then I heard about this, this fly shop in Texas, and they do guide trips and stuff, and I was like, "Oh, that's awesome." And so anyway, I hit him up on Instagram, and I was like, "Hey, I want to go wade your creek. What kind of wading boots do I need?" Nothing. Crickets. And it was like a week later, they finally got back to me, and they're like, yeah, that's fine. Because I asked them if rubber boots would be okay, and they're like, yeah, that's fine. But I felt so wronged because this dude on this podcast was like, yeah, dude, fucking hit us up. We'll get right back to you. You come in the shop, or you message us your family. We'll get back to you. Fuck that guy.
Yeah,
And
give me your money first, and then we'll talk.
yeah,
That's yeah.
yeah.
God, I couldn't imagine fishing with rubber boots, especially here.
Yeah.
Dude.
When
will
he was
eat
talking
shit.
about
Like some
that,
hip highs
Bastard.
or something? What?
No,
What do we-
it's
what
like,
kind
if
of
you're
rubber
not running,
boots?
like probably 90% of the guys on the water right now are probably running corkers.
Yep.
But and that's all I run. But if you run Felter on here, you will end up fucking in the ocean, like through the river, bouncing off rocks, out in the ocean. We'll never see you again. So yeah,
It's a good way to go from freshwater to salt.
Yeah, you'll
Chuck on
see it.
some cork, chuck on a life
fast
jacket.
fucking Andromeda's transition there.
Exactly.
See
You don't
run
need a
fucking
drift
fly
boat
swinger.
when you're just fucking floating down the river, chucking your shit, man. That's just it. Yeah.
Dude, I
Fuck,
tell
I'm
ya,
going fast. God. Yeah.
and if
I
they-
missed
if-
that hole. Someone back row me.
If they want to come sponsor us /corkers, we absolutely love you. I literally don't wear any other boots. That's a selfish plug out to them. That and I'm big on supporting Pacific Northwest companies, and it's just like it's like Jeff from Fairflies knows them really well. I've had awesome interactions with them. I don't know if anybody's done warranties through them. Fucking phenomenal, one of the best warranties out there. And so now hey, you know what? When we get sponsors, I might be pretty good at it.
I was gonna
Sponsors that
say.
we support.
Maybe you need to call Corkers and see if they want to sponsor it.
You know what? I might do that.
Hey, Corkers,
right.
just in case you're listening, Rob's going to be giving you a call soon.
Yeah.
It's like there's the warning.
Don't block his call. We'd love
Hey,
to chat.
you know what? I'd be like, it can be like a 2-for-1. It's just like, hey, if you want to come show us some support, we know another podcast. Maybe you can do 2-for-1. Lock it
There you
in.
go.
Get you.
There
guys
you
some
go.
love.
Mhm.
So what are you guys doing for your streamer leaders then?
Streamer leaders, dude. All
Yeah.
it is like 1x, freaking down to 2x. That's it.
And
And
what about you?
So I'm pretty cheap, and being on the Arkansas River, our fish don't get too big. So I go pick up some of those Cortland leaders from Walmart, 4X, cut them in half, and chuck a knot on it and call it good, man. It works.
So I got a question to another fellow meat guy. You run float line or single line?
That's a good question. It depends on what I'm doing.
It depends. Yeah, that's my answer too.
Yeah, it depends. If I'm throwing jerk flies and shit like that are like unweighted, or neutral buoyant. I mean, even like dungeons, throwing some kind of sinking line. If I'm throwing like Clousers and bullshit like that, I'm throwing long leaders with float line. But it kind of depends. Like when I would guide, I'd take 6 weights, because you can do fucking anything on a 6. So you can't do anything well on a 6-weight,
Yeah.
but you can do everything with a 6-weight.
That's all I chuck too is 6.
Yeah.
That's the greatest way I've ever heard a 6-weight
Now
described.
this is kind of curious because I mean I know you'll understand from being up here. Do you throw a 9-footer or a 10-footer for your 6?
Oh,
Me or Brian?
Both you. Because like me,
Dude,
I figured Brian's gonna probably throw a 10-footer because everything up here, especially out of a drift boat, pontoon boat, and shore, you're probably gonna be like a 9-footer. I'm totally putting me wrong on this.
so I run a 9-footer for just about everything except for nymphing, 10.5 foot.
So-
Wow.
And that's what I do. I do have a couple smaller 7.5, 6.5 foot, but they're really not. We're not talking about the big rivers of the West rods. There, we're talking about
High
little
mountain and-
creeks and
Creaking.
Yeah.
creeking and doing stuff like that. And then out of a drift boat, honestly, I found a 9-foot rod works really good. Even back in the good old days when we were out there in the rain slickers and hip boots, we were throwing 8.5 foot drift rods for steelhead. That's conventional. But what
Yeah.
I'm saying is that even 9 foot seems to be the all around like go-to length.
And so I'm not lying.
Just for fly.
I fell in love with 10-footers. It is for at least what I've done out of the either. We were going for drifts, transferring over to raft, which oh my god, that's amazing. Which don't get me wrong, I love drift boats, but man, especially this time of year. And this is a weird year for us. We have a little bit more water flow than we normally do. It's like every 60 years it's like this. Which I'm not complaining at all. We need it.
No, that's good.
I'm tired of our shit fucking burning in the ground.
Right.
But it's just like, man, just to have that little extra reach or get across it. Because like a lot of these guys, I didn't know for the longest time. It's just like our water is normal. I mean, it's like the San Yams, the Clackamas, that's normal. You get into like Texas and Midwest and stuff like that, it's like a half the size of our fucking water.
Yeah.
And it's just like our rivers were big, and I never thought they were big. I'm just like, yeah, it's like whatever. You look at it, you're like, it's a fucking river. And then you go somewhere else, and you're like, oh, here's our biggest river we have in the state, and your rod's wider than the fucking river, and you're like, what are you talking about?
Well, so John talks to me about like discharge CFS. He's like, dude, it's cooking at 350. I'm like, fuck, I was just out in the river, it's 4,000. He's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, we can't even get the boats. We can't even get the boats down the San Yam unless it's like 1,300.
Yeah. What's it running at right now? About 3?
Yeah. And so we're running right
it's
about
like
3.
perfect fucking trout
Oh,
water
it's
right
phenomenal because
now.
Foster's releasing decent because of the water, so we've got a longer stretch. Detroit's is the same way.
And they're running the pool lower up at Detroit because they're doing the seismic study on the dam. So
yep. And so hopefully they don't fuck it up like they did freaking the shoots. But I think it's coming. I think they proved it. It's gonna be a while before they do it and stuff. So yeah,
Dave, I've got a question for you since we're 2 Colorado guys in here and we're outlawed by the Pacific Northwest. Well, I mean, John, you're
Then there's John
in your own area too, right?
we got more places.
all you
than
Rocky
hide
Mountain
bodies.
nut jobs.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't know all these geology discussion type situations.
Just to let you know,
You're fucking volcanoes.
We
and shit.
we got more places to hide bodies that people won't find.
Oh God, that's terrible.
Yeah, just ask Dayton Leroy Rogers.
Or either of you guys, apparently. Who knows, man?
All those bodies are starting to show up at the bottom of Lake Mead, though, it sounds like.
Yeah, no shit, they really are.
That's crazy.
They found 2 in a barrel already?
It's at least.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're
that's
mob
crazy.
hits
Oh, 100% old school.
out of
fucking-
Vegas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, they're just greasing them. They're just
It
bang,
was used to be,
throw
it
them
was
in
It
there.
was a great drop point. And
No problem.
Yeah, who would have thought?
Yeah.
Hey, Lance. Hey, Lance, go ahead with your question.
Yeah.
Oh, Lance,
okay.
Lance
Yeah,
had a
thank
question.
you.
Raise,
Oh,
raise
yeah.
your hand, Lance.
My
Yeah,
bad,
sorry. I should have put the emoji in the Zoom chat here, but Dave, since you and I are Colorado boys, I always fish, and this is going probably miles back in the conversation at this point, but it's for my own curiosity. I always fish a sink tip line with streamers.
Oh, with streamers, I got you.
Yeah, but you said you fish both. In what circumstances in Colorado do you typically fish streamers with a floating line?
Usually just in shallower water for the most part.
Oh,
When
okay.
I don't have to get down either fast or deep.
Mhm.
I've got setups for both, but that's typically, like I said, just on shallower streams or slower
And
moving water.
Are you using pretty unweighted / lightly weighted streamers in that sense too?
In that situation, yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
cool.
I mean, for the most part, I would say 8 times out of 10, I'm definitely using a sink tip.
Cool.
Which is so
And then
All
I'm
right.
just running like 4 or 5 feet of 0x for the most part, sometimes 2x, but usually, yeah, I'm going heavy.
I might just be an oddball because I throw float line for everything. And,
Do you?
And yeah, and then I just judge the distance, how far it's gonna go, by my tippet leader, and then I
Yeah,
just let
that's-
it do all the sinking by itself.
Rob, that's why no one's gonna remember your name.
You're not wrong. You're absolutely
I'm gonna put that
100%
on your
not wrong.
tombstone.
It's
Here
just like-
lies Rob.
Yeah.
He always
The unknown soldier
floating
that no
line.
one
That
remembers
fucking
his
dude.
name.
But it's just like for like this side of the mountain. The bad thing is, oh my God, I wish we had browns. But I know if we had browns on this side, people would be all over it. But it's just like the only aggressive fish we have on this side, at least in the rivers most of the time, other than like smallmouth and stuff like that, are the cutthroat. Cutthroat are assholes. They're super aggressive. And most of the times they're not really deep. Unless it's like super hot outside. If it's super hot outside, then I'm swapping the nymph. But it's just like you only really have to go maybe, I'd say 1.5 feet to maybe max 2 feet to get in within the feeding lanes of any of the cutthroat. Because they'll chase that shit clear to the freaking boat. Like I said, just because they're like the trout version of smallmouth. And that's why I love chasing them and all that. And I know.
Tell you another fun setup there, Lance. I know you like the high mountain alpine lakes, but if you ever bring a float tube up there, get your second rod stamp, which Colorado we can buy a second rod stamp. Get out there on the float tube and run one high and run one deep, and just start kicking around and trolling.
Yeah.
And just cover more zones. It's fun.
Dude, I like that, man, because I'm actually heading up into the Alpine this weekend. And I've got my 9-foot 5-weight packed up for your conventional dry dropper fishing for hungry cuts. But I'm also bringing my switch rod, the one I brought to Pyramid.
Right on.
And I'm just gonna chuck some balance leeches and chironomans real deep out there and just see what happens.
Hell yeah.
Did you fish off of a ladder?
Nope.
No.
We fished off rock.
Dude,
Yep. And we barely fished too, man. We got about 15 minutes into that trip and the weather was nice. It was sunny, it was warm, and we were like, we're not catching fish today.
That was way too nice.
Yeah, so you start hearing
Yeah.
down the bank, as everyone the realization of our situation was setting in with everyone. And yeah. Fortunately, Dave roped in some nice ones. I had to leave the state in order for Dave to catch those fish.
And
So
I'm
I didn't
thankful
catch
you
any.
did.
But,
Damn.
Thank you very
but,
much.
Way to
I
take
know
one for
what
the
they
team.
say about the ultimate sacrifice, but that day it felt pretty powerful. I'm not gonna lie to you.
And a ladder would not have helped.
Yeah.
It was way too nice. The fish were
It
way
was-
out deep.
I mean, you talk about glass on lakes like it's a good thing sometimes, right? You're like, oh yeah, it's nice. I'm not battling the
need
big
that
Wendy
diamond
out
effect.
here.
Not a pyramid.
Yeah.
Nope. It was nice. It was balmy. I should have brought like a Speedo to get tan lines out there. It was ridiculous, man, because the only thing I caught that entire trip was myself stumbling over my own feet about 6 hours in. And that's where we were at.
It was entertaining though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always thought that for the longest time, like coming up through like the little freaking background of fly fishing and stuff, like, and just not having anybody to really show me what was wrong and what was right. I always thought, okay, when the water's still, that's when you want to like do it. No, it's like when you want it, that small ripple, that small diamond effect. That's when it's gonna be freaking hot.
Mhm.
Especially here in Oregon, it's just like I love fishing before and after rain. It is absolutely.
Yep.
You almost guarantee to fish when that happens, and it's just like it's so much fun.
Do either of you guys, Brian and John, do either of you fish Stillwater much? On the
Dude,
fly?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
big time. Yeah.
So
I've never really gotten into it, but I'd love to hear more. And
So I'm kind of
Dude,
curious about the bass down there. I'm a big predator guy. I love walleye and freaking smallmouth and all that, and miss it. So how's it down there in Texas on the fly rod?
dude, predator fishing is the best. I mean, I just got my 6-aughts. Like,
Hell yeah.
it's dude, don't get me wrong, I love trout, right? Like, I have this extreme adoration for trout, but trout don't put me in the backing. Trout don't break my 8 weights. You know, it's like, it's like, I don't know, dude, I am an absolute whore for big toothy fish. Like, the longer the fish, the more of a slut I am. Like, it's just
It's been real slutty lately,
And
Joe.
that's how
I'm
I
telling you, dude.
was. Because I got into it. I was throwing traditional gear when I was in upstate New York. So when I was still up at 10th Mountain. And surprisingly, the amount of good fishing that's up there for like smallmouth and walleye and all that is phenomenal. And I wish I would have known about fly fishing up there, because that would have been absolutely amazing. And I would have been, oh man, I would have been walking around with a chub every single day. So, because I love it. I mean, it's like literally my favorite fish, and you guys, especially if you listen to it, my favorite fish to chase is smallmouth, and it's just because they fight from start to finish, and if they can fuck you up when you put
It's a wrestling match.
yeah,
Right.
and
Dude.
it's just like they will fuck you up until you like let them go, and they still might try to jack you up.
Dude,
Yeah,
that's
they might jump back out of the boat.
Yeah.
That's the thing with, stripers and hybrids and shit, dude. Like, if they jumped all the time, like, no one would fish for smallmouth or trout anymore. It's like that they are just raw aggression. And this fall, I'm supposed to be going and fishing with the Grants, Holly and Alex from Laughing Stock, where we're going out. We're going to go fish some tailwater stripers, and it's going to be sick.
Awesome.
Oh, that's gonna be phenomenal.
Yeah.
Do you fish for the largemouth down there too, John?
Dude, yeah, but man,
Don't
I
care
mean,
for them that much?
not really, dude. I grew up fishing largemouth, like in Tennessee and stuff. It was
Yeah.
like, that was the thing to do. I mean, I can say it on this podcast because it won't blow up, but growing up in Tennessee, you want to be the next Bill Dance. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, 100%.
Roland
Yeah.
Mark.
yeah.
Dude,
So,
yeah, if you aren't running bass competitions, then you aren't shit.
yeah, exactly, dude. Like, what was funny too is I'll never forget. I was talking to Brian one day, and I pulled up to this spot, and I was there with my brother-in-law, and we were fishing, and this dude, he opened up his trunk, and I swear to God, dude had fucking half a Bass Pro in the back of this Geo Metro. It was this red Geo Metro, dude. He pops the back on this son of a bitch, and there's like 50 fucking bait casters.
Damn.
And he I'm not even kidding, dude. And they're like nice. They're like really nice. And he's got rod socks on all of them. And he pulls the rod sock off, and he starts flipping pitching out in the grass, making sure his drag set and all this stuff. And I was like, hey man, have some luck. And he's like, oh, only boys need luck.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, going back, I think we originally asked how the podcast started, right?
Right.
And then we went off on some streamer
Several
leaders, which is
tangents.
totally fine. I love talking to fishing, but that was one of the big things. Like when we told people, like about the boys, and only boys need luck. That was kind of one of those things that's just popped back into my head.
Oh yeah.
No, we're going full circle at this point. I feel
That
like
is
Yeah.
hilarious.
And
20 minutes later, we get to the end
yeah,
of the story.
and ours was the same way. And it's just like I was hearing all these like Orvises and all this, and don't get me wrong, it's cool to hear the interview, but you're like 15 minutes in, and it's like it's the same questions, just to different people, and it's constantly wasn't there. And I was just like, God, it's just I'm so burned out on listening to these podcasts. And I started listening, of course I support local, so I started listening to a lot of like the born and raised stuff. and talk, and I've talked to those guys a few times, and it's just like, we need to do what the hunting world is. The hunting world is like 20 years ahead of us in the fishing world. I mean, just as in like entertainment and all of this. And it's just like, why don't we start doing that? They're just having conversations. Yeah, they talk about their products and their guns and stuff and like that, like we are, but they're just having fun. They're at a stage where they're just having and they're enjoying time and giving educational information along the way. It's like, how can we bring that to the table and do the same thing? And it's just like, it's cool because we're doing it, you guys are doing it, and and you can jump into any of these podcasts and feel like you're part of the conversation.
Right.
You guys are doing well at it too. I got to say congratulations for, what is it, a 1-year anniversary not too long ago?
Yeah, dude, that was last month. Yeah, last month.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah, congrats.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Made it to
congrats.
first. It's all downhill from here.
Yeah. So, I guess to round out the story, as you know, up here in the Pacific Northwest, we have a fly shop about every 20 feet. And you go into any one of them, like you said, you go into one up north here, from up north from where you're at. Yep. And you walk in there, and if you're not shitting, Tiffany lamp parts out on the fucking floor, and laying golden Easter eggs, you're pretty much like, who's this whiskey tango motherfucker? Anyways, so I had my experience with the old dickhead. I won't name shops. Anyways, there's an old dickhead that ran a fly shop. That fly shop's closed down. I went in there when I was like 14 years old, getting ready to go over to the Deschutes. Okay, I gave a geographic direction if you're smart enough to figure out. I was going over to the Deschutes. I went in there just to get some tapered leaders, and this guy's like, "What the fuck are you doing in here?" It's like, "I just need some tapered leaders so I can go catch fish."
Yeah.
Yeah, this guy's just total dick. I'm out here, like I said, trailer trash kid with my Wright and McGill fucking 8-weight. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I'm just slinging Royal Coachmans and shit like that, like the bane of every fly angler, because it's like, what are you fishing with, Royal Coachman? It's like, yeah. Anyways,
never caught a fly on one of those.
Yeah, I never caught it. I never caught a rainbow. Yeah. Anyways, so that was my experience. And when John started talking to me in the Walmart checkout line, this is how white trash this is getting, by the way, just so you know.
It's phenomenal.
I'm over here. I'm like, I said, you know what? Fuck these guys. Let's start a podcast. I was like, let's start a podcast for people that are just everyday anglers, people that don't give a fuck about, wearing this brand or that brand, or looking like the model that came off the front of the Victoria's Secret catalog for fishing, or whatever the hell it is, right? Yeah, it's not, we wanted to talk about like the guys that run treble hooks through their fingers, have to go to the ER, get the numbing shot, and get the son of a bitch cut off. We wanted to talk to people that worked a 9 to 5 and maybe only had an hour to actually get out there after work and fish. We wanted to talk to people that were like, man, I'm 20 years old. I'm couch surfing. I'm living on milk crates, but I love to fish, and I can't really afford a lot of gear, but I love to fish. And so what can I do? We wanted to talk to those people. That's what we wanted to encompass, was really those folks, because those folks are more, I guess, more numerous than the people that are of like that class of driving the Mercedes SUV with the 20 rod rack holder on the bow, drinking wine and doing whatever, going down the access road below mopping, and John's never experienced that whole culture, and more power to people that are like that. Just don't be a fucking dickhead. Like actually be a good person, and like just understand that, because you used to go into the Red Side Inn up on the Deschutes, and it was kind of a rough place. You run into some folks from the reservation getting trashed, and then there'd be a fight, right? Now it's kind of like, oh, we're going over to the Red Side Inn for a burger and beers after fishing. And it's like, dude, this is not the place I remember. I remember like Ty Valley Rodeo. Like you'd go over there in May during that hatch. We're over there in like cut off jeans, fly fishing. And then we go over there, and there'd be like a brawl between some of the local native folks and some cowboys out in the big field in Ty Valley. It's like this big, shit infested swamp. That's what I remember as a kid. Now it's all like, oh, we're going to take pictures of the mule deer. There's fucking dogs running across the road, all this shit. That's all, it was, we lost that. but we lost that like sense of like, we're going to go out and enjoy outside. We don't care how people enjoy it. We're just going to go enjoy it together. And I think that was one of the biggest connections that I made with John when we came up with this podcast idea, was we wanted to connect with those people. And I think in our first episode, we said, if you're as big of an asshole to come slide out from under a rock and tell people they can't do this because they don't have this kind of gear, or they don't talk this way, or they don't know about this, then get the fuck out. That was our thing.
Which I think is phenomenal what you guys are doing, because shit, I wish it was around when I first started. And it's just because my area, I mean, you were even probably a little bit up in that area where you're at. You probably have, at least you have a shop that's somewhat close. Like my closest one's Corvallis, which is almost an hour away. But there's nothing around here for fly fishing. Everything got shut down in Salem because, so I don't have anything to go when I'm going in there, which I don't like to go into Salem anyway. But it's just like, there's nothing. So I literally I was teaching myself everything on YouTube and listening to podcasts and listening. But everybody, like you said, everybody wants to talk about, oh, you got to throw the new Orvis rod, or you got to throw the new freaking Sage. And it's like, no, I might be able to like maybe get a great bend $20 rod from like fucking Walmart or something and chuck it for like 2 years.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it's just like, it needs, I love the opportunity that what you guys are doing is reaching guys like even me still. I mean, I'm constantly learning. And it's just like, it's the blue collar guys out there. They're just grinding, and that don't have a bunch of money, but just want some information on where to go and how to do it and what's working and what's not working. And so
I was going to say, I don't think we need to ask how you came up with the name of your podcast, because I'm pretty sure you just described it in the last 5 minutes there. That's perfect.
Yeah,
it is really interesting. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, Lance. No, dude, it's that perceived inaccessibility. You know, all these fucking cocksuckers out there, dude. They're just, I mean, it's fucked up. It's fucked up to tell anyone, hey man, you can't do this. First off, I'm probably the last person you want to tell that. Like, I've bled for this country. This is freedom. I'm gonna do what I want, right? As long as it's legal and moral, I'm gonna do it. And I don't care. You know what? If I want to go put these fish on a chain gang, I'm gonna do it because it's legal, right?
Right.
Do I do that? No, right? But I'm not gonna berate this dude down the river from me because he's doing it, because it's within his means and it's legal for him to do so. I don't care about that, right? And it's like, people want to make it out to be, especially with fly fishing, dude. It's fucking nuts. It's like, oh man, go check out the new Sage R8. No, that's rad, but I mean, is the warranty really that great? I mean, probably not. you know, because I mean, Sage just dropped like 50% of their warranties on their rods.
Yep.
Yeah, and I mean, literally all their old rods are no longer warranted. So it's like, oh shit, my bad, dude. Let me go pay $1,200 for this rod, and then in the next 10 years won't be warranted.
Yeah.
No, dude.
Crazy.
It's like, thanks, but no thanks.
Yeah, exactly, man. It's just
Crazy.
And I feel like everyone, you know, in this conversation, and probably a lot of the listeners as well, agree with the fact that, yeah, you can see these glorified pictures of people, you know, perfectly hip high in a river holding up the most immaculate trout. And at the end of the day, we're all like, nah, I'm going to go stomp around in my jeans in the river and have a great time. And all of these advertisements may not apply to us too, right? The gentrification of fly fishing.
Whoa, there's a big word.
Yeah.
Write that down, Rob.
All right, sorry. Let me tone it down again.
Can you slow that down?
Keep
a
it
little
going, Lance. Yeah, look at this.
Yeah. So, you know, there's no other word for it. The gentrification of fly fishing is just insanely sad, you know? You have these guys who all they want to do is get out and go fish, right? And a lot of these folks may have had that resource in their, you know, backyard for 20 years. And just now they want to get into fly fishing. And you say you listen to a podcast, right? You listen to one of the larger podcasts that's, really focused on branding, and you think about what that brand means to them, right? Whereas you get a bunch of guys like us around and we're just shooting it back and forth. It's all good. Like, we have no endorsement deals to figure. Yeah, Dave, what is
There's
read
the
the fine
definition of
print on
gentrification.
But my main point is, like, there's so much industry influence on people to spend more, to make more, to be more involved, to make fly fishing your entire identity and your lifestyle. And it does not need to be that way. You can go and pick up that rod from Walmart that Rob was describing. You can drive to your local pond, you'll catch a bluegill, and I guarantee you'll have more fun than 3/4, if not all of the guys who are paying thousands on thousands for wade trips when they can't even cast a hopper dropper.
Okay.
Like, just saying.
I
So,
love chasing bluegill.
Well said.
Yeah. Everyone
Not
has a
damn
place
thing
to
wrong
fly
with
fish.
bluegill.
Oh, yeah, Lance.
Yeah, that's
You're
what I'm
right.
saying.
So
Yeah.
I'll even be taboo. I love chasing bluegill on like Tenkara rods.
Oh,
There
that's
you
some
go.
rough water
Dude,
you're
that's-
treading there, Rob. But
I-
Whoa.
like I
so
said,
true,
it's
though.
like
He said the T word.
I shoot across the board, and it's just like how can I say this without getting like, what the fuck? I had a
You
guy. And you know what? This is military.
Just say
talking.
it.
Just
You're
send it
gonna
out.
understand.
Just say it. Who cares?
How can you say
Somebody
you don't
wants
like
to get
it?
butt hurt.
And this is how we put it to the guys that I fish with, and this is how bad it is. So if you ever want to fish with a military guy, this is the kind of shit you look for. They're like, "How can you fish the Cara rod?" And I go, "It's simple. It's easy. It's works for it." And I go, "It's not any." And he goes, I can't say I don't like it if I've never tried it." I'm really trying not to say what I want to say, but it's just a military joke. It's like, how can you say you don't like it if you haven't tried it? So, but it's just like that. I mean, don't get me wrong. I will talk shit about the car just as good as the X guy.
I own 2 Tenkara
Yeah,
rods,
but
but
I
don't
broke
put that
both
in the
of mine.
podcast. Edit
Yeah.
that out, Rob.
It's
Don't
like-
let that hit the internet.
I've had both of them, and honestly, Takara is actually one of the best things to learn how to cast on. It's phenomenal.
Man, I don't know about all that one, Rob.
Tom's got some video.
Yeah.
I don't know about all
It's
that.
I've taught I've taught a lot of guys how to cast. I've taught my kid how to cast on a Takara from a Takara rod. It's kind of it's just a practice stick. Like Orvis sells for like $300, and with that string on the end of it, I mean, it's just
Dude.
like you're actually catching fish.
Dude, do yourself a favor. Send me your address after this, and I won't send you the shit I'm about to tell you I'm gonna send you because I'm bad about that. But shoot me an address. I've got some 1-weight fly line double taper, tied double perfection loops. I'll send you like 15 foot of it. It's perfect for a Tenkara because you can fucking roll cast, because no one likes furled leaders. We're not using fucking horsehair anymore. We're not using level line. No, use fly line, be a man, ruin your own day.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, John, didn't you call that other stuff the bush hippie shit or something?
So, and I've thrown that too. I've thrown the pearl line. I've thrown the freaking all that, and it's and that would work really good. And there's some of the streams, especially up here, you get in these high mountain lakes where you're chasing these like micro trout, but I mean, you're only looking at maybe 4 feet across, and the bush is so thick that you're going like
Yeah.
3 feet above your head to try to drop it in the water, and you're like, oh, I hope I can see it, but it's just like, and you have to creep up. And so I was just like, man, I want to try everything. And so, is it my favorite? Absolutely not. But is there a time and place for it? Absolutely. Like, you go into these kiddie ponds or something with bluegill just everywhere, chuck it out there and do your ripping bluegill all day long, and it's fun
Yeah.
as shit.
I was gonna
It's
say
super-
maybe Tenkara's better for training on like nymphing and Euro nymphing.
Oh, absolutely good.
Dude,
Rod
you're
angle.
gonna piss. You're gonna
I-
piss so many people off saying that.
Yeah.
Hey, good. That's why I'm here.
The
I'm here to
thing is,
ruffle
you're
some
doing the
feathers,
same
man.
thing.
Tenkara.
You're doing
Well,
the
remember,
same
John,
thing.
Remember, John, according to some experts that aren't really experts because you just got a big fucking mouth, you cannot Tenkara unless it's on a high gradient
It
stream,
has to be a high gradient stream.
because you hide out in your closet and jerk off. But you didn't hear me say that.
No, fuck
Oh
that guy.
God.
Dude, so Last time I threw
Who wrote
Tenkara-
these rules, man?
I
Right?
don't know, some fucking
Dude,
weirdo
this-
online.
Hold up.
I haven't read them yet.
Hold up. This fucking guy. This
I
this
got him
fuck-
going. Here you
You
go.
did
You're
get
in
him
for
going.
it now. You're in for it now.
dude, no, hold up, no. I've been pretty calm, but this fucking guy, dude.
Until
he's
now.
he's a fucking American gatekeeping a fucking Japanese sport. Do you know how fucking stupid that is? Like, oh gee, holy fucking shit, dude. Like, dude, in his profile picture, he's got like bamboo, like slotted doors and shit behind him. Oh my god, dude.
Send me a link, John. I gotta know who you're
I
talking
will,
about.
Is,
Do it.
is he licking the windows too?
I think he
Window
scratches lamppost and tries to screw the neighbor's cat, but you didn't hear that
Dude.
from me either.
licker. As long as it's
Dude.
not John's cat.
No,
Dude,
no. Valentine, if Valentine gets molested, I think somebody's going to get killed.
Yeah, I don't
Oh,
doubt
yeah.
I think they'll
Jeez.
get the piano wire out back.
it.
Dude, I just got my. I know I'm off track, but I just got my musky wire in, dude.
Holy
Nice.
shit.
There you
Was
go.
that 12 gauge fencing
What
wire
the
you got?
hell?
What, you guys don't tie musky flies? Be a lot cooler if you did.
Oh, I
It
have.
would be.
I have.
At least I know where I can get them now.
Yeah, this is 051 stainless steel.
Yeah,
Wow.
you, could buy,
This is
you could buy this. You could buy the same cable at Wilco.
Yeah, you go down to the old farm co-op and get that.
Tractor Farm Supply.
And this is that's 043. That's for game changer shakes.
Oh hell
Yeah.
yeah!
Wow. I actually want to start making my
Yeah.
own articulated shanks. I've just been starting to dabble in articulated shanks for mostly just elongating flies.
I just buy
for,
everything from Spawnfly. It's easier. I'm lazy.
Yeah. Well, I have followers to impress, Rob, so I have to keep on my shit, you know. But I really do like articulated shanks. The movement on them is so much nicer than spider wire with beads, or
Yep.
if you're using like an intruder wire, you know, for articulated trout streamers. It's really fun. I really like messing around with them.
I've actually stopped because I used to run spider wire all the time, 25-pound spider wire. Stopped using all of that and do only shanks on my target articulated. The nice thing is like Josh's from Spawnfly, it goes from like size 9 all the way, like he's got like 6 or 7 different sizes of shanks in there, so you can pretty much you can tie anything and everything with them.
Nice.
And so it makes it, yeah. So shanks are fucking phenomenal and stuff. And nowadays they've come such a long ways. It used to be like, oh, it's gonna be stiff as fuck, but nowadays they flow right. They've got their settings right, and then it all just determines on how you tie it in, and then you're good to go.
I tie my garflies on 35 mil Waddington shanks for intruders.
Nice.
Ooh-wee.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm on.
You're gonna kill a kid if it gets hit by that thing.
He may have
It's-
already.
It's not for the faint of heart. All right.
What was that streamer that you sent me? You said I put this motherfucker through my hand so you can have it.
Ooh.
Oh, dude. That was on a salmon. That was one of them salmon flies.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. I
dude,
put
those
that through my
So
hand.
I buried a size
Ouch.
1 when we were in Wyoming with Dave. I buried
Yep,
a
I
size
remember
1
that.
right into my shoulder, and it went straight in. I was on the backswing and the wind caught it, so I was pulling, went straight in all the way to the bend. Adam, from the owner of Set You Free, was with me, and I was just like, we're in the middle of nowhere, so I'm at, and it's like I can't pull it out. And I go, so I'm gonna punch it through, but I need you to hold my skin down while I punch it through. And he's like, what? He's like, I need you to hold the skin through while I punch it through. And so I'm sitting there, and it's at that point, I don't know if once you get to a skin, it starts stretching and it just looks weird. And it's about to poke through, and I thought he was gonna pass out. I'm like, fuck. And so I'm sitting there, and I can't feel anything. It's already the point where it's just numb. So I'm like trying to beat it before I can feel anything. So I finally punch it through, and the guy in the back of the boat, Kent, is just laughing. And Adam's having to like sit down like twice. And I really thought he was gonna pass out. And he's like, "Doesn't that hurt? Does it?" I'm like, "No, just give me a Gerber so I can clip it." And then finally, my buddy had a Gerber, and we were able to clip it, and pull it out. But yeah, it was a sparkle minnow. Buried that bitch all the way in. It was just like,
Damn.
oh man, worst
Yeah.
pace. It caught.
God, that sounds painful.
It caught the muscle on my shoulder. I can feel it as it was going through down my arm, and it was just like. But yeah, it was on a size 1. It was the whole fucking loop, and I had to fucking force it all the way through. And so
Maybe that's a podcast topic we cover sometime. Your worst catches, which are typically yourself. You know,
yeah,
ripping hooks at. I buried a mini dungeon into my thumb last spring, and I lost feeling in my thumb for about 4 months. And
Damn.
I know for a fact that there's plenty of folks out there who would love to hear some of these horror stories of ripping
Those
flies
people
at
get off
people.
on it.
Oh yeah, that's where the real monetization
Like those people that watch that
comes in.
zip popping on
so
YouTube.
oh god, yeah,
Gross.
my kid does that.
Yeah,
look at
mine
this,
do
and I'm
too.
like, no,
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Thanks, though.
They're like, look at this
And-
MRSA infection. It's like, yeah, I'll pass.
No thanks.
Then they made a fucking TV show about it. I'm like, what the
Yeah.
fuck?
Yeah.
So you caught,
Good
you
idea,
caught your
Lance.
hand in the meat?
Yeah, dude, I put that salmon fly right here.
Oh,
Like it went in from the back right here at my thumb, like literally where whatever the fuck that is. I'm not a doctor, right? Whatever,
oh yeah.
whatever
The,
beside that.
the tendon running down there. And all
Yeah,
that.
that's a tendon. Yeah, tendon. Just right beside the tendon into the fucking meat right here, dude. And I was gar fishing too. I don't know why I was throwing this fucking salmon fly like a jackass on an 8-weight, dude. Like this is the most haphazard place to cast too. Like there's a rock shelf bank behind you that goes up literally like this. It's like a 75-degree bank. So you're literally like casting up behind you and then kicking it forward. Well, I bring it back. Don't let it extend. Come forward on my stroke and it falls into my hand.
And everything just keeps going, and it's like, "Oop."
Well done, John.
So with
I mean, if
with your
if your
backup,
flies catch you, you know, then at least they catch
hey,
at least,
it
a couple
works. You know
fish.
it's gonna hook.
You
'em.
caught something.
It was one of those Daiichi 1.5s, one of those
Ooh.
yeah. Barb's still on it, so
Oh,
I
of course.
fish barb now. Yeah.
Mine was too, and I was like,
Yeah.
son of a bitch. It was the only
Yeah.
one in my box that had a barb.
That was-
Only one, and I was like,
Go
you
figure.
gotta be fucking shitting me.
Yeah, if you don't fish barbless by now, don't do it for the fish. Just do it for yourself.
Yeah, no.
Exactly.
Yep. So with you guys' variety across the board, do you guys spay fish?
Nah, dude, I'm not.
I'm not going to say what I was just about ready to say.
No, I have a spay rod,
Why are you
I've
holding
just never
back now,
done it.
Brian?
and I love the shit talking. So you've got shit. Like I said, I've
How
tried
many
everything.
children listen to this podcast? Because this is about
Probably
to get this
none.
this philosophical comparison's about ready to get really
So
fucking.
I
bad.
always put it not child friendly whenever we.
Okay,
post
that's good.
That
That's
is
good.
good.
This is the question I ask. If you can spank it with one hand, why in the fuck are you going to use two?
it. Cover water.
Nah.
Because it's that long.
Well, some
Get
of
it.
us are blessed and need both hands.
That's right.
Well, I figured that you could get articulate. However, yeah, see, John's got yeah.
Take my strong hand.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here, bro.
That's why I fish
Like-
Ankara. You just need 2 fingers
Well,
for those
that's like-
little
Yeah.
rods.
Yeah.
And so that's like my biggest thing. So spay to me is being able to cover water that I can't cast in. That was the only.
Well,
that would be the only reason
Yeah.
why I would use spay.
I don't have a problem with spay in the sense of like when you get out like the 12 or 13 foot rod and you're covering big runs, right? Like you're talking massive runs and you're going for salmon or steelhead and you want to swing and you want to swing deep. Like that's cool. I'm not a spay guy just because I've grown up with a single hander rod and all
Yeah,
that.
I'm the same way.
The one that perplexes me is the trout spay. That's always
Majority-
perplexed me.
So I know 2 guys at trout spay, and I
Mhm.
asked him that. I'm like, "Why are you trout spaying? You can get across." He goes, "My shoulders are jacked up. I can't cast."
Yeah, and I
And I
can
was like,
when I see the older guys doing that, you
Yeah.
know, it's like, okay, this has to be something to do with orthopedic injury or something like that. But then I see like a 19-year-old, and I'm like, man, you should be out there in your Speedo in the middle of winter, just like slinging like 90-foot hauls on a 4-weight, man. You should be like jumping around these rocks with a foam dome on, catching fish.
I've seen it at Jesus, I hate TBIs. Metolius. The lower Metolius people will throw spay to hit the holes below the hatchery. We know what
Why?
they're chasing, but it just for to hit the
Well, I
hole.
know they're chasing bulls,
Yeah.
but you know, I just why? I went down below the hatchery, you know, the big flat down there,
Yep.
and the fish were erupting out of there. Now I couldn't get them to eat anything. They were eyeballing it pretty hard, but
Dude, they're picky.
yeah, they're extremely picky. I mean, we're talking like 5X and everything else. You know, I didn't have any 6X because I really don't like to fish that, but it just doesn't seem like a big enough river in my book.
And so the only thing I can think of is the back. So if people that are listening, McKenzie's not McKenzie, the fucking river I was just talking about. Metolius. Yeah, welcome to having TBI, guys. So the Metolius, for us guys on the Willamette Valley side, is probably the closest technical river that we have. And it's very technical. It's really picky. It's fished extremely hard. Then you got ass clowns and the fucking rubber hash that come down during the fucking summertime and blow all your holes out. But it's super cold water. It's amazing fishing. I mean, it's one of the most beautiful spots out there. I love fishing it during winter. I will not fish it during the summer. But it's just like you have a lot of ponderosa pines around there. It's brushy, but there's absolutely really no spot where you can't even just angle. I usually just angle it down the river, and then chuck it, and then I'll feed it back up through there. But little tip, I got to fish the hatchery pond twice.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So if these guys, so the fish that are in there, they drop the brute trout,
brood stocks,
and they're sometimes bigger than steelhead.
Damn.
They are bigger than steelhead.
And so I caught one in there that was about 33 inches, and almost 15 pounds. And so,
they're just a big ass slob.
Yeah, and they're just pellet pigs. It's all they are, is just pellet pigs. And it's just like,
My
and normally,
favorite.
you know those ponds. Yeah, you know those
You
ponds
are a slut.
where you go up and you buy the food and chuck them in there, and the
You put a quarter in
Yeah.
it, the little gumball machine, turn it.
spits
I'm
out
that
cat food.
asshole
How do I put
that
this
got
on my
to
hook?
fish those ponds.
Yeah.
Yeah, each year we take a trip over there, and take like 10 vets out, just allow them to get hooked up with fish, interact with ODF and all that. It's a lot of fun.
That's awesome. That's a perfect place though for that type of activity. You can't beat that, and that we need that.
Yeah.
And those guys need it too.
Yeah. I mean, you know, this area, like, I hate to say it, I love Oregon to death, but there's really not a lot of outdoor stuff for veterans.
No, there isn't.
And there's, and I'm not bashing.
It's our
anything.
culture.
Yeah.
It's our
it really
fucking
is.
culture.
Because everybody's like, oh, you got Wounded Warrior Project, but I mean, that can go fucking pound sand in this area. Then we do have some Central Oregon guys that have combined, where you can go hunting and do stuff like that, but it's still pretty difficult. But there's just not a lot, like Project Healing Waters. I'm partnered with the Mid Valley chapter. Then we have a Portland chapter. It's really hard to get the word out there and to get them involved. And then it's hard now, especially because we're getting ready to go to Yamsey. And we got 7 vets we're taking down. Well, Yamsey from us is like 4-hour drive. Well, shit. Now we got to be like, okay, do you want to drive with $5 a fucking gallon? I mean, actually, we're cheaper than you guys, which is nice. Albany's at $4.
I'll drop you a gas station that's got pretty good deals up here, but we're gonna PM that. So
Yeah. And so, but
You
it's
got to
just
know
like,
the guy behind the counter.
Yeah,
for those
it's
deals.
things like that, and it's just like, and the bad part is not to get political, but like the Pacific Northwest, from Mexico to Seattle, is a shit show. It's like, and he'll contest, we hate the I-5 corridor, which is the I-5 and everything off it within like a 10-mile radius. it's just a shit show, and it's just like, and so it's hard to bring 501s and stuff in to be like, hey, yeah, we're here. We'd love to be able to do this, because whether we like it or not, that's where the moneymaker is on the I-5 corridor. Because everybody is, whether it's, you believe it or not, once you get outside of if you get 20 miles off the I-5 corridor,
Yeah, it's totally
it's
different
it's
place.
yeah, it is not even close to what that looks like, and that's why I
Yeah.
love it. And it's just like, that's why I love the Oregon. But
It-
it sucks.
You know, and not just to Oregon, but a lot of other places. Not being a veteran, I don't know how the community interacts, you know, because everybody's always like, well, you could just go down to the VA and get fixed. And everybody knows how fucked the VA is, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you have any
yes.
brains, you know how fucked the VA is. So it's not like you're going to go there. But getting the correct the proper outreach, right? Because that's probably one of the hardest things, is like getting the right outreach to the right groups and the right veterans, and getting those types of things lined up. In our area, I mean, you're absolutely right. There's 10 miles off of I-5 around here and closer. If you go around and you wear a U.S. Army veteran hat or a U.S. Navy veteran hat, you're a fucking baby killer. You're a scum of the earth patriot. Who cares what your political alignment is? You're a total pile of shit to this, really like small but loud faction of these fucked up people.
Yeah.
And that's what I hate about when people are like, man, Oregon's fucked. Yeah, it's got its problems for sure, but not everybody here is fucked. There's actually good people.
It's so
but
centrally located in certain areas. And
yeah, it's like these cluster, we'll just call it cluster fucks.
Yep.
We got like 4 cluster fucks in Oregon, and that's where everything's bad. And if you meet people outside of that, you find some, like I said, it's not going left or right politically or anything else. You'll just find people that are like, hey man, every time something goes wrong, we don't light a dumpster on fire, smash out windows, and go rob the liquor store. This is like this other group of people. But and this happens in Seattle, it happens in San Francisco.
Yep.
The entire I-5 corridor, it sucks. But I also see it happening like John's neck of the woods down in Texas too. There's this isolation to veterans, or even in Colorado, or the Rocky Mountain region. It's so hard to outreach and get the word out, to veterans, and just anybody in general. It's really hard. I wish it wasn't. And anytime you do, my call out to the listeners of this podcast or any of ours is, if you find a veteran and they want to go fishing, make it happen, even if it's not through like an official thing. Just like, yeah, dude, let's go fish. If they're like, yeah, I was in the Navy or Air Force, who cares? Who cares? Take them out fishing. Say, I got extra rods. All 5 of us in this room right now talking, we all got extra rods. We got extra gear. We can take people. It's not going to hurt anything. I don't care if they lose hooks and weights and shit. Who cares? That's all replaceable. But giving that person experience and make the friendship with that person, because you could very well save their life. You may not even be a veteran, but you could very well save their life by offering that friendship forward, and not sitting there saying, oh yeah, did you kill somebody, or did you do this or that? Just be a fucking human being and a friend to that person.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
sure.
Man.
and it's like your buddy. It's just like, there's guys that'll talk. I used to be that way. I used to not talk about any of my experiences. And then I just got to a really, really dark place, and opened up to a couple people. And then after the film, I was like, fuck, that's just a weight lifted off my shoulder. It's just like, man, I want to push this out. This needs to be like dealt with. This fly fishing is literally, legitimately, I can say, saved my life multiple times. And it's just like, and it all started with a buddy being actually, my father-in-law going with me to a Project Human Waters meeting. And then I got in with the group, met a couple dudes, started hitting some small creeks around here, really got into it, and it gave me like a purpose. And that's the biggest thing with fly fishing. It doesn't matter, honestly, with fly fishing, it's traditional gear, Tenkara, I don't give a shit what you're doing. Fishing in general will give you a purpose. And it's just like, whether you're a vet or anything, that's just, it's mentally head clearing. And I just recommend it for anybody that just needs a slot. I mean, it's just, that's one thing I love about at least our area, and I know it's big in Texas and even in Colorado. Each state, just being outdoors is a way to have a reset. And it's just saying, and that's why I came up with that. My first film was called Reset, because that's what it was all about. Of all the battles people are dealing with. It didn't have to be PTSD, it didn't have to be anything. It's just, you're dealing with a really shitty week. Just go have a reset, man. Fucking take an hour and go kick rocks into the fucking river or something. And it's just like, have fun. Just get out and breathe some fresh air and get away from and shit and stuff. So
there's something melodic about standing in the river and you've been fishing your ass off, and you could be catching, you could be not, whatever, but you catch yourself in that moment where you just kind of look around and you appreciate everything, and everything, albeit a small list, everything makes sense in that one moment. And I want to shout out for anyone who's in Colorado or just kind of like the Rocky Mountain area. Fishing the Good Fight is another nonprofit organization that really prioritizes specifically men's mental health. Right. And they offer some incredible retreats. They offer some incredible resources too. And if we want to talk accessibility, we can talk that, but I think everyone should have access to fishing. You know, there's these state-funded programs, there's government-funded programs, there's individual private company funded programs to get people out on the water. And if anyone's thinking about it but hasn't made that jump to actually getting out on the water, then that is exactly why all of us and countless other people are in this lifestyle, I guess, for lack of better terms. Like, I personally, anytime I go out fishing with friends, I barely fish because I love to watch my friends fish, and I love to see them catch fish, and I love to see that reaction and everything that goes into catching that fish. And that's the realest part about it, is there is so much of you that you put into figuring out how to catch a fish, like working through those mental, you know, convoluted areas to really see the clarity, to be so in tune with what you're doing, to be able to just straight resonate with a fish to the point of catching it. Like, that is where it's at. And even if you don't catch a fish, it's not a bad time either, right?
Oh, no.
We all love talking about catching fish, but you rarely hear us talking about not catching fish, even though we probably don't catch fish more times than the times that we do, right? Like, I'm calling every single angler out there, every single picture I see on Instagram, I know there were countless days of you not catching shit leading up to you catching that fish, and everyone should own that.
Oh, absolutely. Dude, you know, you were talking about Stillwater. Like, where I cut my teeth is this tailwater that's a Stillwater. It's like this bizarre, I'll fucking name drop it. It's the Little Missouri River in Arkansas.
Like a frogwater setup?
Yeah, dude, complete frogwater. Like, there's chain pickerel, brown trout, rainbows, smallies, largies, you name it, it's there. I even caught a blueback herring one time on a dry fly. Like, it was... I'm serious, dude. It felt like hell. I was like, oh, is it fucking brown?
Oh, that was that little shad thing you got.
Yeah, but dude, I forgot what I was saying.
You're talking about Stillwater, John.
Stillwater, yeah, dude.
Cutting your teeth.
Yeah, cut my teeth on that place, and it was just like, dude, I fished it. The first time I went, I mean, I literally fish all my own flies, right? Like, started fly fishing, lost all my flies, started tying cat hair flies out of like on like size 8 bait holder worm hooks. Like,
$1.97 for 25 of them at the big box store.
Dude, yeah.
I know it. Hell
yeah, dude. I mean, I've got 4 cats, and you know, with their powers combined, made a bunch of really fucking shitty nips. But the first time I went, dude, I had a size 10 Griffith snap, because that exists. And dude, I was new.
Like,
all right,
or something.
That's what's funny, is that
crazy.
Yeah, hey.
If it works, it works, right?
It worked.
Right.
All right. And it was the dumbest shit ever, but it worked, and I caught fish on it. And then, like, the next I don't know, like 3 trips out there, caught nothing. There were literally trout swimming between my feet. I was like, this is literally the worst ever. Like, it was like that line from Step Brothers, like this. I'm not gonna say that anyway. But it was when I finally caught that, that next fish. Like when I actually figured it out, that was so rewarding. It's like putting all those pieces to the puzzle together, like Lance, like you were saying, man, it's just, I don't know, dude, when it all finally comes together and you catch that fish, or even when it just, like you were saying, when it all comes together and you're like, damn, dude, I saw a fucking eagle today. I saw some otters. I saw that water snake that I was poking my rod at, trying to keep it away from me. It's like,
yeah, I think that's one thing that at least I always try to remind people, take a moment to look around you. I mean, it's just like, other than carp, because they're not real fish, nobody believes in them.
Sewer salmon.
Carp are the holy grail of
salmon.
fly
Yeah.
fishing,
Sewer
man.
salmon.
Ditch
Pickles, grass bastards. I've heard it all.
Yeah, grass bastards.
But other than those little fuckers, the fish don't hang out in shitty spots. I mean, it's just, they're beautiful areas. I mean, it's just like, and there's some crazy, and you're going to see, I don't know how many times I've seen bald eagles kick the shit out of an osprey. It's like, and then it dropped its fish, and then the mate of the bald eagle would catch the fish in midair and take off. And then the osprey is like, fucked. What the hell just happened? And it's just like, I've seen that like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, you're not even thinking about the fish at that point.
No,
you're
it's just like, where else are you going to see that? Actually, it was up twice. It was up at Big Tree.
There's a couple up there. Yeah.
And the other
I've watched that whole thing unfold.
And the other one was at Blue Den.
Okay.
And then the otters we have in the pond around there. I mean, there was one at Blue Den last year before it got sunk to the bottom. That was probably one of the biggest fucking otters I've ever seen in my life. But they're beautiful. And it's just like, I mean, they wreak havoc and they cost us a shitload of money. But then there's been times where I'll be sitting on the shoreline, just kind of skimming the shoreline, throwing in, and there'll be like a deer walk down, and I'm just, and it's like, holy shit, I can throw and hook you right now. It's just like, and it's awesome. And everybody's like, oh, but I gotta have this. You don't have to have shit. Go to your fucking Walmart, buy the cheapest stuff. I know Oregon, I don't know about other states. I know Oregon has a bunch of free fishing days. Just look up on their website and be like, free fishing weekend. That's usually when I'm not fishing because it's usually swamped by people. But it's optional.
Yeah, fun story about free fishing weekend. The one that happened in February was during the Sportsman Show in Portland. So we went out there and we fucking waxed some steelhead. And all these other guys are up there drinking Hefeweizens, and it's fucking raining cold. We're out, because like, fuck it, it's winter steelhead fishing. And we went out and smacked some fucking winter steelhead, and nobody else but the guides and us were out on the river, and it was just perfect. It was like all the guys that are like, the mid coast, like hot shot fucking runners, man. We were out there. That was a free fishing weekend. Guess what? Those weekends, if you do have your license and all that, well, since you don't need it, you go out and smack a hatchery steelhead. You don't have to tag it. So even better.
There you go.
The the free fishing weekends are a phenomenal thing around here, because it does give a lot of opportunity. And I really hope that other states start taking that on. Now, I know that other states have really good license costs and stuff like that, but I know here in Oregon from direct experience. So we talk about veterans, and veterans get a good deal on a license.
Yep.
But there's also resources for disabled folks. There's pioneer licenses, and I'm sure that this crosses over. But one thing I would also encourage is if there's anybody that's listening that is a foster parent, foster families also get those discounts on a license. And there's something to be said for children getting into fishing too. I think we have the veterans and we have the children, and I think that it's a wholesome, well-rounding experience for kids to get out and experience outside. I don't care what way that you do that. And for veterans, it's a healing thing. I can't encourage people enough to get kids out fishing. Absolutely. It's absolutely imperatively important to get kids outside, even if they only sit there for 2 minutes with the rod. because they're out of patience, or they want to go eat fruit snacks, or
Or
go,
they're chasing water dogs.
yeah, whatever. Yeah, they're
It sounds
doing
like
their
me
thing.
on the
That's
river,
what my
man. What are you
kids
talking
do.
about, kids?
Yeah, exactly. But you get the kids out, get kids involved with fishing, because they're the world that they are growing up in. I hate to be negative, but it is a fucked up world. And it's unfortunate that it's got to that point, because, we all got the opportunity to grow up in something a hell of a lot more wholesome. These kids are, they're surrounded by nothing but depressing, dark, evil shit. And the best thing you can do is to get them away from that and put them in a world where they don't have to see it. And they have opportunities for those kids. But if those opportunities don't exist, I would just call on other anglers, try to make it happen the best you can.
Yeah.
Especially if you have, if you got an old shit fishing rod in your garage, and you got some old bobbers and hooks and shit, just put that together and get a kid out fishing, and if it's like a single mom with a kid, and the mom's like, I don't know what to do. Take both of them out fishing.
Yeah.
Try to help them out, get them out there so they can experience. Most places kids can fish for free anyways.
And that's what I love about Oregon.
Yeah.
And so, because there's a bunch, I think there's the free fishing days, and then there's like kid days.
Yeah.
And and I know most of like any kind of big, if ODF's around, they'll bring their tanks down. Like kids can fish like right there and stuff. And
Yeah.
So that's what I love about it. Just get them outdoors and have fun.
Agreed.
Yeah. And going back to what you were saying, Rob, one step above picking up cheap gear from Walmart, hit the thrift shop. That is literally where I buy all of my Orvis gear. And especially if you're in areas like, all of us are fortunate enough to be in, there are so many thrift shops where you can go and pick up fishing gear or just outdoor clothes. You don't need fishing specific gear. I have, 9 times out of 10 not bought from a fishing company because there's better options out there. And it is so easy to go and find a pair of zip-off pants, because unless you're an angler or a hiker, no one is getting caught dead in zip-off pants, right? Like, that is not happening. But if you go and hit the shop and you find those, it's perfect for fishing, right? Like, creativity within our own bounds of resources helps immensely when trying to get people of, regardless of gender, race, background, sexual identification, all of that doesn't matter. You just get them out on the water, because there's nothing better. I don't care who you are in this world. If you have a fish at the end of the line, there is not going to be a sad face anywhere, within your vicinity. That is pure smiles. That is pure happiness. And that is removing yourself from all that negativity that we were talking about. There is nothing better than catching a fish.
True.
For sure.
Mic drop. I'm done. I'm out of here.
I'm just trying not to say anything.
I've been gentrified.
Moment, but
And chronomid.
Yeah. Guys, look out for your gentrified chironomids out there, At your soda sopa in South Park, Colorado, man. I'm
There
telling you.
you go.
So where can we find you guys' podcast at?
Everywhere. So seriously, you can find the podcast on Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Podcast Addict, Pocket Cast, and then you can also get on YouTube. We are on youtube.com/C/Working Class Fishing Podcast, or just go type in Working Class Fishing Podcast. You also find us on Instagram under Working Class Fishing Podcast, or go find Mr. Hansen. He can direct you our way.
Absolutely.
We also are on Facebook. We have a personal profile page called WC Fish, and we also have the regular page, Working Class Fishing Podcast. And we have a Gmail account, which is workingclassfish@gmail.com.
Damn.
Very cool.
You guys
Well,
are
And we have
everywhere.
TikTok and some other shit.
I need
And
to
we got
follow you
Morris
guys on
Flying Code.
TikTok. I
Yeah.
only post Tenkara videos to TikTok.
Yes.
Yeah, I bet
Oh yeah.
TikTok is fucking blowing up then right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, TikTok's something else, huh? Maybe that'll be a part 2 discussion
Yeah.
for our podcast. But
Right.
Yeah.
Brian, John, it's been outrageous fun getting to know you guys, hanging out with you. This is Brian and John from the Working Class Fishing Podcast, and we are the Set You Free Outdoors Podcast. We'll see you soon.